G'day guys, and welcome back to another video. And today we're going to be flying from Shanghai down to Adelaide with China Eastern on their A350-900. Now, it's only been about a week since the inaugural flight from Shanghai here down to Adelaide. Now, they're going to be operating this particular service, MU 781, on Saturdays, Mondays, and Thursdays. It's currently Monday here in Shanghai, and I am really looking forward to this flight. Now, this is the first time that there has been a Chinese carrier flying direct, non-stop from Shanghai down to Adelaide. It's going to be seasonal until August the 2nd, and then I believe later in the year, in December through to about February 2027, they're also going to have another crack at it then too. So I am really looking forward to tonight's flights. So 3 times per week, you have an opportunity to get back to Australia, and then it's MU 782 heading back up to China from Adelaide as well. So tonight, I'm really looking forward to seeing what the meals are going to be like. As someone with celiac disease, I require a gluten-free meal. So I'm interested to see if I'm going to be getting my typical fish meal, which I usually get up in Asia here, or will it be something different? So I'm interested to see about that. I'm also keen to check out the Wi-Fi in the situation there and the overall comfort. So anyways, less blabbering on, let's get ourselves over to the airport and hop on this flight back home to Adelaide. As we make our way from the Green Court Residence City Centre Hotel near People's Square, let's have a chat about costs for tonight's flight. Now, I purchased a one-way ticket direct with China Eastern on their website, which set me back about 670 Australian dollars, which converts to about 470 US dollars, or about 3,150 Chinese yuan. The ride from People's Square to Pudong International Airport is about an hour depending on traffic. Sure, you can take the subway, which I've done many times previously, and it is a much cheaper option, but today's ride in a premium vehicle only set me back about 40 Australian dollars. So for the comfort, I feel it was definitely worth it. Now, one thing I always find interesting before a flight is tracking the aircraft that will actually be operating the service. So at around 10:40 AM this morning, I jumped on Flight Radar 24 and found tonight's aircraft about an hour and 10 minutes away from landing in Tokyo. Earlier in the day, it had already completed the long flight from Madrid to Shanghai before heading straight back out to Japan, and after a short turnaround in Tokyo, it'll return to Shanghai, and that's the aircraft I'll be flying on tonight down to Adelaide. So I've just arrived at Shanghai Pudong International Airport, which first opened back in 1999 to help take the pressure off Shanghai Hongqiao Airport as the city's international air travel continued to grow. Fast forward to today, and it's become one of the busiest airports in China and one of the busiest international airports in the world, with close to 85 million passengers passing through last year alone. Now, it's the main hub for China Eastern Airlines, so if you're flying with China Eastern from Australia to Europe, or even to other parts of China or Asia, there's a pretty good chance you'll be connecting through Shanghai. While China Eastern does have other hubs around China, this is definitely its biggest. In Terminal 1 this afternoon, I have to say immigration and passport control was surprisingly quick, especially for a Monday. Now, since my flight departs from gate 138, which is actually over in Satellite Terminal 1, I'm gonna have to head downstairs and catch the underground airport train to get there. It's actually my first time catching this one, and by the looks of all the signage, after 2 stops, I should be there in about 2.5 minutes. Alright, so I found my plane earlier, and they're just offloading all the cargo from the flight down from Tokyo just before. And now I'm sort of just aimlessly wandering around. I've got 2 hours to kill. I've had a look at a few different restaurants, but a lot of them are Western, and I'm very sure they're going to be crazy expensive for the prices that I've actually been spending while out here in China. Airport food, as we know, is never cheap. Maybe I'll just walk around a little more, see if I can find something else, and yeah, we'll go from there. So after spending a couple of hours wandering around Satellite Terminal 1, it was just about time to board tonight's flight down to Adelaide, Australia. Now, before we hop on board today's flight, I'd like to thank this video's sponsor, which is Airalo. Now, Airalo is a leading eSIM company which is trusted by over 30 million travelers, and can provide eSIMs for over 200 destinations. If you're like me and travel internationally quite often, one thing I used to hate was hopping off the plane in a new country and trying to navigate my way through an airport to a store that sold local SIM cards, where they would swap out my Australian SIM for the local one, and then I'd have to safely store my Aussie one in the meantime. However, in the last couple of years, I have been using eSIMs, which have saved me time at the airport and of course stress with how simple the process is. Now, with Airalo, it's simple. All you have to do is download the app, create an account, select the right plan for you depending on your destination, install your eSIM, and activate it when you arrive. Now, it doesn't just have to be one place as well. For example, on this trip, I was able to download a regional plan that covered up to 18 countries in Asia. So as soon as I landed in places like Singapore and in China, all I had to do was activate the eSIM and I was immediately connected to the internet. I'd highly recommend downloading the free Airalo app using the link in the description below and use code LUKECRISP to get $3 off your first eSIM. Or you can simply scan the QR code on the screen here to get started. But once again, thank you very much for Airalo for sponsoring today's video, but now let's hop on board. Boarding was pretty well to schedule today, just after 7 PM, and with a scheduled departure time at 7:40 PM, at this stage, things look pretty well on time. Now, as I stepped on board, I was greeted by a friendly cabin crew member who actually walked me down the aisle and showed me to my seat. It was a small gesture, but it made for a really welcoming first impression. Now tonight, I was originally assigned seat 68A in the economy cabin, however I had to change due to an issue with the seat, which I'll explain shortly. China Eastern's Airbus A350-900 features a 333 economy layout, which is the configuration the A350 was originally designed around, so there's plenty of space to walk around the cabin as passengers settle in. The seats offer 31 inches of pitch, around 18 inches wide, so on paper, they're fairly typical for a modern long-haul economy cabin. Overall, in terms of comfort, the seats feel quite comfortable, knowing I'll have a long 9 or so hour flight tonight, down to Adelaide.
过道通畅。如果您会由于喷洒的药物而引发严重疾病，请按呼唤铃并告知客舱成员，谢谢。
Unfortunately, once the passenger in front sat down and reclined their seat a little bit, I noticed the seatback literature pocket on mine had broken. Now, I mentioned this to a crew member and they were fantastic. They asked me if I wanted another window seat and quickly offered to move me to seat 65A and even let me know the middle seat beside me was expected to remain empty as well. So overall, it's no biggie as it was sorted nice and quick. But before we head off tonight, I just wanted to touch on the IFE as well. On this aircraft, economy passengers have an 11.6-inch high-definition touchscreen. The entertainment system is modern and responsive, and probably one of the better system layouts I've seen. The external cameras were great, and personally, I think the interactive flight map is one of the best I have come across. You can also check out the layout for other cabins in the aircraft and learn about the specifications, something I personally had not seen before. Thankfully, a crew member came over to confirm my gluten-free meal request, which gave me confidence everything had been organised correctly, and so far, the service has been excellent. The captain advised we'd be departing around 20 minutes behind schedule tonight due to air traffic control delays. There was also an announcement inviting passengers to inquire about upgrading to business class. Now, out of curiosity, I asked one of the crew members how much it would cost, which was 13,000 Chinese yuan, which is about 2,270 Australian dollars or about 1,600 US dollars. But for myself, I had mentally prepared for this flight in economy already, so I didn't really see the point. I was definitely keen to get up and on the way, so I could finally get a meal as I didn't find anything of interest in the satellite terminal. Takeoff was at 8:29 PM local time tonight, so we're about 50 minutes behind schedule at this stage, so we'll have to see if we can make up the time overnight heading south. And tonight, we're expecting a flight time of 9 hours and 10 minutes to cover about 7,700 kilometers, or about 4,790 miles. Not long after takeoff, I could hear the cabin crew jump up and start heating up the meals. Now at this point, I was starving since my last meal was around lunchtime in Shanghai, and as soon as it came over, I got the shock of my life. It's not fish, and it appears to be a beef meal, as mentioned on the top of the packet here. Now, I've possibly mentioned it before, I'm not the biggest fish eater, especially with fish meals on planes, and the only time I've ever had non-fish gluten-free meals in Asia, especially way up here in the northeast, it's only been on Chinese carriers. Now, as I was about to start my meal, there were a few bumps, so seatbelt signs came on. So unfortunately for other passengers, they were gonna have to wait until it cleared before cabin crew could begin main meal service for passengers with non-dietaries. Now, overall, it doesn't look too bad. I noticed there was no butter for the bread, but overall, to be completely honest, the beef felt more like water buffalo, which I've had in China before. It's quite watery, although taste buds are certainly different in the air. It wasn't overly beef tasting, so I will give it a 5 out of 10, mainly because it's not a fish meal, but it's possible that because the beef has been frozen before, it's just lost some of its taste, giving that sort of watery flavour. Other passengers seem to have beef, rice and potatoes, so similar to my meal tonight, although they do have salad with prawns, so it's not overly different, just apart from some of the sides. Cabin crew followed this service with bread rolls, and then finally drinks, before dimming down the cabin lighting. This new non-stop service is about far more than simply giving South Australians another way to get to China. For the first time, Adelaide has a direct link to Shanghai, China's largest city and one of the world's most important financial and logistics hubs. For passengers, it's a huge improvement. Until now, travelling between Adelaide and Shanghai usually meant connecting through Sydney, Melbourne, Singapore, Hong Kong or Guangzhou, and pretty much all those I've had to do myself. And now, you can step on board in Adelaide and arrive in Shanghai around 10 hours later, making business trips, holidays, and family visits much simpler. And the benefits flow in both directions. For Chinese visitors, international students, and business travellers heading to South Australia, this new route removes the need for an additional domestic connection within Australia. Instead of flying into Sydney or Melbourne before catching another flight to Adelaide, they can now travel non-stop to South Australia, making the journey quicker, simpler, and far more convenient. The route also complements Adelaide's existing non-stop service to Guangzhou. Rather than relying on a single gateway into mainland China, South Australia now has direct access to two of the country's most important aviation hubs. That gives travellers more choice, while also creating greater flexibility for freight and business. Arguably, the biggest impact is below the cabin floor. Each flight can carry around 15 tonnes of cargo, creating a much faster and more efficient route for South Australian exports into one of the world's largest consumer markets. Fresh seafood, premium beef, cherries, citrus, and South Australia's world-famous wine can now reach Shanghai directly, reducing handling and transit times before continuing to destinations across China if required. China is already South Australia's largest trading partner, so having direct links into both Shanghai and Guangzhou isn't just convenient, it's strategically important. It strengthens business ties, supports exporters, and provides multiple gateways into one of the world's largest economies. Shanghai is also much more than just a destination. China Eastern's hub at Pudong Airport offers connections throughout China, across Asia, and to major European cities. That means that this route isn't only about Adelaide and Shanghai, it also opens up another convenient one-stop option for travellers heading to Europe, alongside the more traditional connections through the Middle East or Southeast Asia. Competition is always a good thing, and another long-haul carrier in Adelaide means more choice for travellers, more opportunities for exporters, and stronger international connections for South Australia. For a city that's worked hard to rebuild its long-haul network, this route represents a significant milestone and progress moving forward. breakfast was pretty standard with scrambled eggs, green veggies and potatoes. Overall it wasn't too bad, better than last night's dinner to be honest, but not the best breakfast I've had for a gluten-free meal. Now, before we touch down in Adelaide, let's talk the Wi-Fi on this flight. To connect, all I had to do was enter my seat number and the last 4 digits of my ID that I used to book this flight. So in my case, it was my passport. I didn't have to wait until we got to cruise either. I just gave it a go once over 20,000 feet and then I was connected for the remainder of the flight. Now overall the Wi-Fi was fine for socials, although keep in mind I did have a VPN on my phone, so I'm not too sure if the Wi-Fi would allow me to connect to these apps otherwise. The crew's English was excellent and I found all my interactions with them to be very friendly, and to be honest, the only issues I've ever had with China Eastern is managing flights when booking them directly on the website. Thankfully on this occasion I didn't have to organise too much, as Cindy sorted this for me and organised the window seat and gluten-free meal, so I didn't need to manage my own booking. Overall, economy seats are comfy, the IFE was decent, especially the flight maps. Now, if you're looking for a large range of movies and TV shows that are Western, you'll have to bear with what's available, but overall, there's still a good 14 pages of international movies, but just not as extensive as I've seen on other airlines. So, for $670 for a one-way flight from Shanghai down to Adelaide, I'm pretty damn happy with how this has turned out. We touched down at 7:14 AM, local time in Adelaide, but thank you very much for watching this video. As usual, if you've liked this video, it would really help me out if you can hit that like button, and if you're not subscribed, please consider doing so. But thanks for watching this series, heading up to China via Singapore, and I look forward to getting some more videos out very shortly. Until then, I'll catch you on the next one, and all the best.